four-game series with the Atlanta Braves started out on quite a high note, but unfortunately, when the weekend portion came around, it started to sour as the Mets split their four-game series with the Atlanta Braves. This is the Queens Connection, episode number 30, a production of Patton Sports Creative. I am your host, Andrew Patton, joined by the co-host, Corne Hogeveen. Corne, hello. Uh, Quite an interesting 4 days in Mets land, that's for sure.
Up and down like a full baseball season. So yeah, it is what it is. Bounce back, get the Twins, and everything will be alright. It's not the end of the world, people.
Nope, and there could be perhaps some more reinforcements coming for the Mets. They've already added a couple arms and a bat, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in this episode. But everything started on Thursday night after the Mets swept their Subway Series with the Yankees. They came back to Queens for a huge four-game series with the Braves, and it started out pretty well with a 3-2 win over the Atlanta Braves. A walk-off RBI single from Jeff McNeil in the 10th inning as the Mets took the opener. This is a game started by Luis Severino, who went 5 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, all of which were earned, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. The Mets did get down 1-0, but they answered right back on a Francisco Lindor 2-run homer. The Braves did string together some hits in the sixth inning to tie the game that eventually chased Severino and brought in Jose Buto, who's been nothing but an ace out of the bullpen for the Mets, who pitched 3 scoreless and struck out 4. The bullpen held it the rest of the way as well, with Diaz pitching a scoreless inning and Phil Maton a scoreless inning. Now, the Braves did help out the Mets a couple of times on the base pass in the ninth and the 10th inning. And then a bit of a misplay by Ramon Laureano on the McNeil single. So the Mets do win the opener with a little help from the Atlanta Braves. What was your overall takeaway from the opener on Thursday?
Well, little help from the Braves. We definitely stole that one. Chris Sale was nasty. Severino kept us in there. Lindor, obviously, with a big home run against dominant Chris Sale. And then the Braves just gave away outs in big spots. And eventually, with 2 outs in that bottom of the 10th inning, when you get that momentum switch with the missed squeeze play by the Braves, and you think, yeah, we have to score now. That's at least my feeling. The momentum is now all the way up to us. This is the time to walk it off and to make the Braves pay for that miscue on that suicide squeeze play. And we almost didn't do that. So probably if the Mets didn't walk off there, I think it was a fair guess that the Braves would get it because they tried to give it to us twice with 2 base running plays. And if we didn't take advantage of that, you probably lose. But then the Braves thought, oh well, we tried to help you anyway, so let's just get it over with and help you at all with the win. So it was a bit of a stolen win, obviously. It was a very good feeling to get that one, to get that first of the series, especially against arguably right now the Braves' best arm. Um, but it wasn't necessarily just because of us. It was mostly because of the Braves.
Well, you take them when you can get them, and then that certainly did. And Jeff McNeil, 2 for 4 in this game with an RBI, obviously the game-winning RBI. The Mets only got 3 hits in this game, uh, and one was the walk-off, the other was the Lindor home run, and Jeff McNeil had another hit, like we mentioned. So kind of a quiet offensive. Well, I'd say quiet. I mean, they scored 3 runs, but you only get 3 hits as well. So some of the big boppers did not perform in this game, but you do have to tip your cap to the Atlanta Braves because they do have good pitching, despite the fact that they're maybe running some non-major league guys out there in their starting lineup. Their pitching has been huge for them. So have to give credit where credit is due. So good performance from the Braves pitching staff as well. But the Mets were able to match it with Severino and Buto and Diaz and Maton doing their thing. So a series opening win for the New York Mets. We take it you to Friday night for the return of Kodai Senga. And he came out and he looked pretty good. The Mets did get down 2-0 on a home run from Adam Duvall, probably the only real mistake Senga made in this game. But something we've seen the Mets do of late is respond, and they put up 7 in the third inning with a JD Martinez grand slam. Mark Vientos got in the action too with a 2-run homer, and Francisco Alvarez with a solo shot. So the ball was flying out of City Field on Friday night. And Senga, like we said, just a little mistake there, but he settled in eventually. Unfortunately, the outing did not last as long as people wanted it to. He ended up getting hurting his calf. It's a calf strain, and was placed on the IL. Eventually transferred to the 60-day, and there was the news on Saturday that his season is likely regular season is likely over. So very disappointing there. But the Mets do grab another run in the fourth inning. The Braves did try to make a little bit of a comeback. They did get some two solo shots later in the game, but the Mets held on for an 8-4 win. Obviously, like we said, Senga was the topic of this game because he came out so dominant, and after all that time off, rehabbing, working his way back, and just to get another injury, it's a killer for the Mets because you got their quote unquote ace back, and he was pitching like it, and was going to really boost the rotation. And now you're kind of back to where you were with gonna have to rely on Severino, Minaya, the veterans to kind of carry the weight for the Mets here. So um, let's just talk about Senga overall, performance wise, and what the future for this Mets rotation is.
Well, it's just so disappointing. Obviously, mostly for Kodai himself, but as Mets fans, you saw a glimpse of what he could do for your ball club. He was absolutely great. Always after a pitcher gets back from injury, you maybe expect a little bit of rust, but he didn't show that at all. His ghost fork was nasty again. So it's it's like you go down on Christmas morning, see a huge Christmas gift wrapped up, and then look inside it, and it's like a stick or something. Nothing big or nothing nice. It's just what could have been, and then to see that result, to see him getting hurt, um, that's just so unfortunate. And it's unfortunate for the Mets. Uh, I mean, after this news, I think you could say that probably after the 7-run third inning, it all went down because we lost Senga and then we lost 2 games. And you just wished that you were riding high. You scored 7 runs of Charlie Morton. You figured, hey, another win, um, 5 in a row. You get you get the first wild card spot at that point, and then that happens. And probably maybe still a little bit of a momentum shift maybe for the Mets. Could definitely be because I think it's definitely felt in the clubhouse if that happens.
Yeah, I was just like getting this big boost back. They had performed so well for the most of the year, and they put themselves in this spot, like you said, that with that win, they got into the first wild card spot, and you had Senga coming back, and um, now just to lose him for the remainder of the regular season is a tough blow. But the point has been made that they got to this spot without Kodai Senga. So are these guys capable of keeping that up? No, no, I think they can, but perhaps they're going to need a little external help. With just less than 48 hours to go in the trade deadline as of recording this, but we'll see what happens. Because right now, with Senga done for the season, Christian Scott's going to be out for a while. You figure you're probably not going to see him until at least early September, maybe. Um, Figuring you're gonna, he's shut down and then he's gonna have to build back up. And And even at that point too, does Christian Scott, is he going to be more of a bullpen arm at that point? Who knows? Something we discussed on previous episodes. So, um, no, right now the Mets are going to. Mendoza said they're going to roll with a 5-man rotation, and uh, that means that Tyler McGill is back in the rotation, and he got the start on Saturday, and came out guns a blazing, but eventually hit a wall as the Mets lost on Saturday 4-0. We tipped our cap to the Braves for their well pitched game by Chris Sale on Thursday. Well, you got to tip your cap to Spencer Schwellenbach here for the Braves, who pitched 7 innings of uh, scoreless baseball, only 2 hits, 11 strikeouts. The Mets offense was just silent in this game. And the Braves eventually broke it open with some home runs from Ozuna and Olson in the fourth inning after McGill had come out cruising. And something we've seen can start well, and then it just takes a 180, and now we're going downhill. So overall for McGill in this game, 6 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, all which were earned, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 3 home runs allowed. Um, just if no, this was a chance for McGill to maybe kind of tell David Stearns in the front office, you don't need any rotation help. I got this covered. Don't worry. Um, Start out that way, but eventually the Tyler McGill we had seen of late uh, found his way back onto the City Field mound.
Yeah, it's just you see glimpses of what Tyler McGill can do every start, and for some reason, or it's control. Before I think before the start against the Braves, it was control, and now it was just allowing home runs, which he hasn't really done that a lot. I thought the boot said that he allowed 3 home runs before this game, so it's odd. I think there's still some good in this outing. Just 2 walks is decent, and he definitely was more aggressive in the zone than we are accustomed to see with Tyler McGill. But in the end, it's still the same. You look at Tyler McGill, and it's not the first time that you look at the guy starting out well, thinking, "Oh, this looks good. It looks really good." I think the first 3 innings, he looked really really good, and then all of a sudden, like you said, he hits a wall, and it's just not good. And yeah, it's just if he yeah he has that one outing against the Dodgers where it everything clicked for the full length of the start, but we have seen him allow 5 runs or 6 runs in the first and then settle down after. Now we see he started out well, but then getting hit later in the game. So it's unfortunate and not trusted. Uh, I I think I can make the point that Tyler McGill for me is not a trusted major league starting pitcher to be part of your rotation in a stretch run where you want to get to the playoffs.
I think you just said exactly how I felt. It's hard to trust McGill right now, and even when he got demoted from New York to Syracuse in late June, he wasn't pitching all that well for AAA Syracuse. So this was just a situation where the Mets need a starter. They brought him up. It was the easiest thing to do, but um, for a team that wants to make a push for the playoffs here, is can you trust McGill every fifth day to go out and give you a solid start? Right now, it's hard to do that. Whether it's walks or now maybe now the home run issue is going to be something to watch for with McGill. Who knows?
Yeah,
But
maybe with him being more in the zone, that accounts to allowing more home runs. I think it's too early to tell, but yeah, it could be. Maybe it's just not good enough.
no, could not be just good enough. And I mean, to be fair for McGill, he had to be nearly perfect with the way Spencer Schwellenbach was throwing for the Braves, and that's a tough thing to do because when you're getting mowed down by the opponent, it puts a little extra pressure on the pitcher. Um, and unfortunately, the Mets just couldn't really generate a whole lot offensively. So They lose this game 4-0. Do have to give credit to the young twins though, because they pitched three scoreless out of the bullpen with seven strikeouts, one hit, one walk. Um, so for it's for a guy like Diekman who struggled this year, there's obviously some uh, questions about his reliability as well. To have Danny Young pitch that well and getting Alex Young a waiver claim coming in and knock on wood pitching some solid baseball for the Mets. It's a tip of the cap to Stearns and something we talked about was maybe they need a left-handed reliever. I still kind of believe that, but the what the Youngs have been providing for the Mets out of the bullpen from the left side, um, it's hard to complain about it at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if the Mets might get a lefty reliever, it might be Diekman who's gone instead of those two guys, maybe. Because Diekman has shown flashes of being good, but then all of a sudden he has back-to-back games where he allows runs. So another guy right now. You hope that after the Yankees save that he maybe turned a corner and got got a good stretch going. But yeah, I think after this weekend we can say that that didn't happen. So for me, that's maybe a little bit of my final hope for Jake Diekman, unfortunately, because I do think that the guy has some pretty good stuff and should be better than he has shown, but just not working this year. And maybe you keep Alex Young around, a guy who has some control. Same with Danny Young, and maybe that's a better uh, thing to do, not only now but also to see if one of those guys could make your bullpen next year.
Yeah, for sure. And the Diekman thing is something we had talked about in the last episode, maybe carrying that momentum. And like you said, unfortunately, Friday, he did strike out three, but allowed a home run. That got Edwin Diaz warming up in the bullpen. Um, and then, unfortunately, an outing on Sunday did not go very well for him either. But to be fair, there were some other outings out of the bullpen that unfortunately did not go well. So let's jump to that Sunday game where the Mets were looking for a series finale win to take 3 of 4 from the Atlanta Braves, climb back into that top wild card spot. But unfortunately, that did not happen. The Braves came out and spanked the Mets 9-2. Little bit of a similar outing for David Peterson compared to McGill. I think Peterson overall was better than McGill. Um, but
Shocking.
well, I mean, yeah, I have you say that, but I have a feeling you're going to agree. It was just a bad fourth inning because all of a sudden Peterson hit a wall and the leadoff walk to Austin Riley, a little cheap single there by Marcell Ozuna, but Matt Olson, maybe he's starting to find his stroke again because he launched one. Um, but the Braves up 3-0, and just Peterson. I think Mendoza said it in the post game. He just lost the strike zone in that inning. Peterson eventually came out for the fifth and had a scoreless fifth. So that was all he gave the Mets. 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, all were earned. 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Um, so what do you make of this David Peterson outing? He did suffer his first loss of the year, the first time the Mets have lost with David Peterson on the mound this year.
Yeah, put him in a bullpen. No, no, just kidding. That's
Wow.
something.
Okay, I see how it is.
That's something I see on Twitter right now. After a guy makes one bad start, wasn't a good start, was a bad inning, as you mentioned. Completely lost his control for some reason. Um, I don't know. I'm Yeah. He said maybe that he's fine, but I'm still slightly concerned that it had something to do with him shaking his arm. In the end of the fourth inning, he um, shaked, or I don't know. It's a little bit more than shaking, but his hand. I saw something on Twitter that his hand was very shaky when he left after the fourth. So definitely something that maybe wasn't as comfortable for. Maybe it's not a big deal, but maybe that's part of the reasoning why he lost his control or something like that. That it just didn't felt loose in that inning because it was weird because the first 3 innings he was so good, and then all of a sudden he just lost his control. Um, but yeah, it happens. Pitchers have a bad inning. Pitchers lose the control at sometimes. And the Braves, kudos to them for making Peterson pay for being spotty. And then the Braves, I mean, look at the ERAs on the box score on the pitchers the Braves brought in. And you say, yeah, the offense was silent, but there is some good ERAs on the Brave staff. Even if you lose your starter after 3 innings, they can bring in Lee, who has, I think, an ERA on the two. So it's they have a good and deep bullpen, and it was tough for the Mets to score some runs. So eventually, it became a blowout because of an inconsistent debut from one of our new guys.
Yes, we'll jump into the new guys as well, but the Mets just like you said, the Braves do have good pitching, despite the fact they're running guys like Nacho Alvarez out in the lineup every day. No disrespect to Nacho, he's got more baseball talent than I'll ever have, but still. Um, and as a theme in this game too was especially early on the Mets had some chances. They could get guys on base. Lindor led off the game with a single, but then Iglesias hits into a double play. So there was no Taylor had two straight at bats, lead off doubles and whatnot. And he never came around to score. And there was a questionable send, shall we say, by Mike Sarbaugh at a moment in the game when the Mets are down 4-0, and you could have had runners on the corners at the top of the order coming up, nobody out. So and I mean, we don't have to ramble on about that unless you want to, but just kind of a
No, just a bad stand in that situation, and yeah, we can say anything, but just to and Sarbo knows it. I mean, he made a mistake. He also makes mistakes during a full season. So yeah, it happens. It was unfortunate for this game, but it happens.
yep. And then the Mets were able to get 2 runs and break the. I believe they said there was a 20 inning scoreless streak that the Mets broke on an Alonso 2-run homer in the eighth inning, so the Mets were not shut out. Uh, but just kind of just a rough day overall for the Mets on Sunday. It was not a a game to remember. We'll put it that way. But like you said, there were some Mets debuts made on Sunday. A new reliever, Ryan Stanek, also Jesse Winker. Yes, Jesse Winker is a New York Met now. Everyone gave him a nice wave hello at the ballpark. Uh, but unfortunately, it was a rough debut for Ryan Stanek. 2 hits allowed. They were both home runs, 3 runs. Hit batter did have a strikeout. Um, but a point you had made, I just saw this morning, because now people are, kind of saying the world is, coming to an end with Ryan Stanek in the Mets bullpen. But there was a reliever the Mets acquired back in 2022 who had a rough debut, but eventually would settle into his role with the Mets bullpen. So uh, let's not overreact here, I would say, with Ryan Stanek.
No, it's funny that the person who tweeted a photo of Michael Givens and then said Ryan Stanek and probably wasn't aware that Michael Givens allowed 5 runs in his first outing, and that was actually really good after that. So I thought that was just hilarious and shows that you know the way people maybe look at certain things because he's probably want to be snarky and see Ryan Stanek is the new Michael Givens. I saw the comments. Everybody said, "Oh, no." Some say don't go that far. But Michael Givens had 2.70 ERA after that first outing. You take that. If Ryan Stanek gets a 2.70 ERA after his outing now, I think everybody takes that. So shows that some people maybe remember certain players differently than they should.
Yeah,
To
no.
put it nicely.
To put
To
it
put it
nicely, you
nicely.
did put it nicely because I know there's probably a lot more built up in there. So I do have to give you a credit for not just losing your stuff here with that, but it's true. And this is something with maybe not necessarily the home runs, but with a guy like Ryan Stanek who throws hard, a fastball splitter kind of guy. Sometimes you're going to have outings when he's not really in productive because he's just well, that's just the way he is. Sometimes with that 99-mile-an-hour fastball is going to come out. It's going to look really good, and sometimes it's not going to be there. That's just kind of the pitcher he is. So I wouldn't get too worked.
It's every pitcher. I
Yeah.
mean, every pitcher has bad days. Give the guy some time to settle in. Honestly, it was perfect time to get him that inning.
Mhm.
And who cares if he allows 3 runs in a 4-0 game when the odds were probably against us that we would have won anyways. So now just he has settled in. He made his debut. That's going out of the way. Terrible thing by the fans, by the way, to boo a guy who just got here. But that's another story. So give the guy some time, and he's going to be a big part of our bullpen. And one outing in his first outing, in his debut, doesn't mean that he's gonna be bad all the time.
I agree 100%. And next time Ryan Stant comes out, maybe it's in this Twin Series. Maybe he mows down some hitters and everyone's cheering him off the mound. That's just kind of the way things go with relievers in baseball today. So,
Exactly.
but Jesse Winker was acquired as well. The news broke late Saturday night, and then it was officially made Sunday morning. The Mets traded him for Tyler Stewart. We should say the Mets sent Rylan Thomas to the Mariners for Ryan Stanek. Rylan Thomas was the 30th overall prospect for the Mets, according to uh, MLB Pipeline, and Tyler Stewart was kind of a middle range prospect. Obviously, Stewart probably a little bit more well known than Rylan Thomas, but um, Jesse Winker made his Mets debut. He did strike out in his first at bat. Came in the eighth inning. Played the left field in the ninth. Uh, but it's just overall these moves for the Mets. What do you make of them, and what should people make of these moves?
Well, you get reinforcements, you get upgrades for minimal prospect cost. We see some moves that were made in this off season that shocked people with the amount of talent that's coming in return. And the Mets didn't do that. The Mets got Ryan Stanek for Rylan Thomas, who could be a fifth outfielder type of guy in the majors, but probably nothing major. Struggled a bit in AAA after his solid year in AA. And then Tyler Stewart, who for the Mets is probably behind a couple of other starting pitchers, and that's in the depth chart. And I think if you also have to consider that the Mets uh, aren't the Nationals or any other team, a team with lower payroll that maybe gives a young arm a little more of a shot in the major leagues. There's a good chance that Tyler Stewart would be, a swingman, spot starter type arm for the Mets, while he could be maybe a fourth type starter for the Nationals right now. It's just a different organization. If the Mets have some pitching issues, we see that in recent years, um, when they had McGill and Peterson as depth options in years past. I think if you started the year with everybody, then Peterson would likely be. Oh, he was injured, but if everybody was healthy, Peterson would probably not be in the rotation as well and be a depth option um, this year. So it shows that the Mets have a little bit of a different um, type of organization. So I think for the Mets, it's definitely not a big loss, and you make this trade every day of the week. And Winker is a pretty darn good hitter against right-handed pitchers, which you will face most often. So he's more than the DJ Stewart guy. He's a guy who's going to play versus right-handers, which is obviously most of the time. Um, so it's definite upgrade for us, and it's definitely worth the risk for what we gave up for the push. And I wish Tyler Stewart nothing but the best. Heard he is a good guy. I think for him, for his own sake, this is a good move that he's out of the Mets organization because he was clearly behind Blade Tidwell, Brandon Sproat, maybe even guys like Mike Vassell and Dominic Hamill. who are in AAA. Then you also add guys like Kate Morris and Jonathan, who are in Brooklyn pitching well. So um, it's not a it's not a loss for the Mets, and it's good for Tyler. And we have a very good player. We added a very good player.
Yeah, Jesse Winker this year, right-handed against right-handed pitching, his OPS is 836, and they were showing on the scoreboard at the ballpark yesterday. His career OPS against right-handers is, I think it was like maybe 10 points higher than what it's been this year. So he hits right-handed pitching very, very well. Um, and obviously the Marte thing is taking its time, taking its sweet time, and who knows whenever Starlin Marte comes back and um the Mets just unfortunately couldn't keep rolling DJ Stewart out there. Just wasn't. I mean, he would give you a good long at bats, but um, just wasn't really producing at the moment. So the Mets went the Jesse Winker route after we had talked a lot of discussion about Michael Conforto. No, we thought that was maybe the direction the Mets were going to go in because we thought Winker was going to be a little bit more of a hotter commodity for teams with his contract status and the year he's having. So, um, we had talked about him in our chat, but I don't think we really thought that that was, like we said, the direction the Mets were going to go in. But they did. Glad to have Jesse Winker here, and um, like I said, with the Marte thing still sorting itself out, Jesse Winker could get a lot of playing time here for the New York Mets.
He definitely will, and good to have him. I think he is personality-wise, he's a good fit for the Mets, and we saw that when he was on the other side. I mean, the way he handled New York fans, I think, was perfect. Um, embracing it instead of going against it. I think that's the way it goes. And now he's on our side, and I mean, I could see a reunion next year, honestly, for a guy who's already pretty liked by a lot of Mets fans, who likes the Mets himself. Now, being a Met, if he has some success over the next couple of months, uh, we might see that Jesse Winker just stays. So maybe it's not even for a half a year. Maybe it's a longer commitment to each other, because if he hits right-handed pitchers as well as his career norm, I think he's definitely a useful bet to have.
No question about that, and there were some reports too, like people tweeting out the beat writers that when Jesse Winker was in the clubhouse, some of the guys were fired up, particularly Pete Alonso. So you talk about him being a good fit for this clubhouse and whatnot. I definitely think the definitely sounds like the guys are happy to have him as part of the team. So we shall see how Jesse Winker his Mets tenure goes, and like you said, maybe goes well, and they re-up. So hopefully his time in New York sees some playoff baseball. And currently the Mets, as we look at the NL wild card standings, the Mets were at a high point with the first wild card spot, but with these two losses, they have dropped right back to the third wild card spot. But thanks to the Pirates yesterday, who beat the Diamondbacks, uh, where Arizona remains a half game behind New York. The Mets are only a half game behind the Padres, I believe. So, and obviously we know they're right behind the Atlanta Braves and can catch the Braves as well. So it's still a tight race and still some time to make some trades. So it'll be an interesting next couple of hours or day and a half, I should say, for the front office overall.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I I guess that there's a starter coming, but we will see. But that's my guess right now. Um, and yeah, the wild card race is tight. It isn't over. I'm not sure if I will watch playoff baseball in Thailand for the wild card series this year, but it's definitely not over. It could go a lot of ways, and it's gonna be. I think we have to embrace it as fans because of the May we had. I think having meaningful games in this time of year is definitely something that little a little less than 2 months ago we probably wouldn't have expected. So embrace it, uh, and hopefully we end up on the right side and have playoff baseball. That would be great.
That certainly would be great, and if the Mets are to make a couple more moves, they're probably gonna have to, dip into the prospect pool, so This could be, for some guys, the last time they are mentioned on Corne's minor league minute.
You're having some nice bridges today, Andrew. That's so early in the morning is impressive. But Dominica's Summer League match, first home run of the year for Julian Hernandez as he drove in three. Randy Guzman keeps raking with a 2 for a 4 day on Thursday, hitting 333 with a 1031 OPS. Davey Polino was solid, going 5 innings, allowing 3 runs, 2 earned on 3 hits and 2 walks, while striking out 5. 2.97 ERA for the 19-year-old. Ryan Reyes with another home run, his sixth in a 2 for 4 night on Friday. Another first home run of the year for Marcus Torrero, going 1 for 2. 825 OPS for the young catcher. Atlantica with yet another solid day to celebrate in being in the Mets top 30 prospect list. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI. Catcher Julian Hernandez again keeps hitting well as he homered for the second time in the weekend. He now has an 837 OPS, 18-year-old guy, so he is having a good season. And Dominica's Summer League All-Star Jose Guevara did it again, 6 shutout innings, allowing just 2 hits and a walk while striking out 8. 1.45 ERA over 37 and a third innings with a 0.75 whip. And I heard a rumor, or I read a rumor, that Jose Guevara might be promoted, and it won't be to the Florida Complex League because they played their last game with a season-ending win, rehabbing Jose Perosa went 2 for 4 with a home run and 3 runs batted in. Jonathan Henriquez tripled and walked twice in a 1 for 2 day, ending his year with a nice 841 OPS in the Florida Complex League. Davison Gutierrez, who also was added to the Mets uh, top 30 prospect, and it is Florida Complex League at an even 1,000 OPS breakout year for Gutierrez. Wellington Aracena went 4 scoreless, allowing just 1 walk and a hit, striking out 5. And Irving Coda was strong as well with 2 1/3 scoreless innings, striking out 3. 3.49 ERA with 42 strikeouts in 28 and a third innings. It's a nice season for the Mexican righty. So to get back at Jose Guevara, the rumor was that he will be moved up all the way to St. Lucie. So we will see how that will turn out. For St. Lucie, Ronald Hernandez, just a solid player, solid prospect. 2 for 4 with a triple and 2 runs scored on Friday, and had another 2 for 4 day on Saturday. He now has a 382 on base percentage for the 20-year-old switch hitting catcher. St. Lucie Mets had a bullpen day and struck out 13 in a shutout performance on Friday. Jorge De Leon struck out 3. Jeremy Peguero 2. Jordani Ventura 1. Joseph Yarbor 3. And Gregory Luis 4. So good day on the bullpen day. And A.G. Ewing went 3 for 3 in a much needed strong showing for St. Lucie on Saturday. He drove in 2. Brooklyn Cyclones, first homer of the year for Christian Pergant. He went 3 for 4 on Thursday. The Cyclones scored a run on Friday in a 12-5 win. Christopher Suero and Omar de los Santos both homered and doubled in the win. Mateo Gil went 3 for 5. Kate Morris had 6 perfect innings before it got broken up in the 7th. He ended up allowing 3 runs over 6 1/3 innings, but still a tremendous start. He didn't walk a batter and struck out 6. Nick Morabito and Wilfredo Lara with 2 for 4 days. Lara now hitting 306 in July with a 393 OPS. Felipe de la Cruz was solid after struggling recently. He went 4 1/3 innings of 1 run ball, allowing 4 hits and a walk with 5 strikeouts. Jeffrey de los Santos tied the Sunday game with a 2-1 homer, and Omar de los Santos won it right after with a walk-off blast. Jeffrey went 2 for 4, driving in 4. Back-to-back home runs to tie and win it for the De Los Santos guys. So that's fun. Jonathan Pitero with more good work for the Cyclones, going 4 1/3 innings of 1 run ball. He allowed 2 hits and no walks with 4 strikeouts. Eduardo Herrera went 2 scoreless with 5 strikeouts for the win. 2.25 ERA for Herrera, who the Mets got, I think, a month ago. So that's between his former team, which I thought it was the Colorado Rockies, and the Mets in the minor leagues. Binghamton Kevin Parada kept his good July going with a double and a run scored Thursday, with a 2 for 4 day on and a 2 for 4 day on Friday. Binghamton had 5 doubles in a 2-1 victory, and Jalen Palmer went 2 for 3 with an RBI with one of the 5 doubles. Yoander Suarez, who had struggled since his good start to the year, pitched well for 5 scorers. He allowed just 3 hits, 2 walks, while striking out 3, improved to 5-5 with a 4.58 ERA. TJ Shook made his organizational debut with 2 scoreless innings, allowing 1 walk and a hit while striking out 3. Good debut for Shook after the Mets got him in the Tyler J trade. Matt Riddick doubled twice on Saturday in an extra inning loss. Prout allowed 3 runs over 5, striking out 6. Alex Ramirez hit his 5th home run of the year, a big tying home run in the 8th on Sunday. Stanley Consrega drove in the go-ahead run in the 10th. He had a nice 2 for 4 day with a triple. And Luis Moreno pitched 4 strong, allowing 1 run, 4 hits, and a walk. He struck out 5. Syracuse, congrats to Trey McLaughlin, who was promoted to AAA, 2.08 ERA in 30 and a third innings. I think we saw Trey McLaughlin a couple of times in spring training this year, so he's moving up, an interesting arm to follow for maybe a future bullpen help. 11th home run of the year for Mark Rousseau in a 6-4 loss on Thursday. Bailey Ritter and Pablo Reyes with 2 hit days on Friday. Dominic Hamill was tremendous with 6 innings of 2-run ball. He allowed 7 hits, but didn't walk a better and struck out 9, so he's starting to pick it up lately. Luis Angel Acuna went 2 for 5 with an RBI on Saturday, but the big hit came from Jackie Bradley Jr., who the Mets got from independent ball, who homered in the 8th. Jordan Gerber made his first start in AAA and went 4 2/3 solid innings. He allowed 1 run on 3 hits with 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. A lot of threes there. Drew Gilbert returned with 3 walks in the AAA lineup, so good to see him back in AAA. And Blake Tidwell allowed 4 runs in the first 2 innings, but settled down, allowing just 1 hit after. He overall went 6 innings of 4-run ball, allowing 6 hits with 6 strikeouts.
Well, who will be traded from that minor league minute report now? Because it's the Corne curse. Someone mentioned in that minor league minute it's going to get moved. I just have a feeling.
Well, if we get a good player back, I don't mind trading some of those guys for maybe Tarek Skubal or something.
Right. Well, or Garrett Crochet, but I think that's I'm not sure that's the
I'd
direction.
rather
I'm
have
not sure
Tarek
that's the direction
Skubal.
the Mets are going to go in per se. I think it's going to be maybe a little bit of a uh, not as hot of a
James,
commodity
Jameson Tyone.
that's been banted about. I saw that. Well, I don't know what are the Cubs buyers now. Who knows?
The Cubs are weird. I
Uh,
think I heard that Tom loved the moves the Cubs were making with.
I got a text that said the Cubs are a bleeped up organization. So, but
You should have just said the word and then bleep over it, Andrew. It was perfect way.
yeah, it's a lot of extra work for me to do. So I did the manual one.
Yeah, yeah. You have the tough job of the two of us, I know.
Well, hopefully there's not a lot of swearing these next couple of days. Hopefully it's a lot. Hopefully it's a lot of easy baseball for us to watch as the Mets welcome the Minnesota Twins for a 3-game series to Citi Field. Starts tonight at 7:10 with welcoming a former Mets farmhand back to the Queens. Simeon Woods Richardson will get the start for the Twins, going up against Jose Quintana. It's a 7:10 first pitch. And then on Tuesday, it's going to be David Festa. I don't know if there's any relation to former Met pitcher Matt Festa. Uh, he gets to start for the Twins. He'll be going up against Sean Manaea. And then on Wednesday afternoon, 1:10 getaway day, Luis Severino will take the ball for the New York Mets, and he will be going up against Pablo Lopez. So a good pitching matchup to finish the series on Wednesday.
How about Pablo Lopez? The Minnesota Twins need to shred some money.
Well, I'd be happy about that, but we'll see what the. I don't know if that's something the Twins are interested in doing at the moment, but uh, I guess you can make a phone call. Doesn't hurt to make a phone call.
He's
David,
not having a great year. So,
David, get on the phone. Call the Twins.
David, all the
David,
twins,
David, if you're listening.
ask, ask for Pablo. Ask for Pablo.
But
Say, you guys, you need some money to get some players. Twins, we happily take some money off your books.
well,
Uh,
if you ask some people, you could get probably Pablo Lopez for uh, a struggling Kevin Parada.
oh, yeah, you try you're trying, Andrew. I'm not going to
I'm
bite.
trying to poke you and try to get you to lose your you know what, but it's not working.
No, 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 a little bit.
A little bit.
No,
Okay.
yeah, yes, exactly. There are fans who come with trade proposals that you get good players for struggling draft picks, former first round picks, or struggling guys who were a little bit higher in the ranks earlier. So maybe Kevin Parada and Alex Ramirez will get you Terry Skubal, according to some Mets fans. And they will probably be they will probably if it happens, obviously probably wouldn't happen, but if it happens, they will see the headline: Tarek Skubal goes to the New York Mets. They are happy. Then see the Mets are giving up Jet Williams, uh, and a little
Luis
bit
Angel
more, and be
Acuna.
exactly and be extremely angry that that's the return. That's what's gonna happen. If it happens, but we know that's not gonna happen, but probably not gonna happen. But if that happens, that's how the response will be.
I think I did my job today.
Good job, Andrew.
I did my job
You
today.
got me.
Did my
Yeah, you
Okay,
got me.
how about Garrett Crochet for Jackie Bradley Jr.? Let's do that.
Oh, you can throw in Tyler McGill.
We'll trade a mid-30s outfielder who's had like a 400 OPS the last 2 years for probably the best pitcher on the market. So yeah, some people they can make that trade.
He has a good OPS right now in AAA, Andrew.
Well, that's true. He's only played like 2 games though. So all right, let's get back on track here. I did my job. I poked the bear and I got him to bite.
Yeah,
So
you
uh
got him to both.
uh
We have to keep the podcast a little bit on edge sometimes. So
sometimes that's right.
I happily take the bullet today.
Well, the big 3 game series with the Twins. All the series are big, so I mean, I don't know why I have to specify it's a big one against the Twins because all of them are big at this moment. But if the Mets are to have success against the Minnesota Twins, they're going to need some guys to step up. So who's going to be the big bopper of the series? Who's going to be the best on the mound? We're going to try to put a name to the claim on that, and you get the pitcher. We are a pitcher podcast, so pitcher goes first.
Yeah, well, Pablo Lopez on Wednesday for us then. But
Oh,
no,
perfect,
just
perfect.
no, just kidding. Oof, tough one. I don't know enough about the Minnesota Twins to really have a calculated guess. So I go with let's go with Ryan Stanek. You know, like for the reason I mentioned, had a bad first outing, but that's out of the way. His first outing for a new team, you want to make an impression. That's out of the way. Uh, he's gonna have a good outing or a good couple of outings maybe in this series to get right back on track and to be a big part of the Mets bullpen going forward.
I like it. I like the confidence, and I have a sneaky suspicion that Ryan Stanek, his next outing, is going to be very effective for the New York Mets. I'm going to go with someone who's been struggling since the All Star break, but I think has started to put together better at bats, longer at bats. Maybe the results haven't been there, but I think he's starting to get back to his form, and that's Brandon Nimmo. I'm going to go with Nimmo to have a good series against the Twins, facing all right-handed pitching. So I mean, not that Nimmo's bad against left-handed pitching. We know how well he does against lefties, but you figure with all those righties in there, he's bound to play every single day like he usually does. So let's go with Brandon Nimmo to maybe start to open the floodgates here and get back on track.
I always like that we don't go for the obvious, by the way. We always try to look at guys who might struggled or not having the best and then see reasoning why we think they might be coming out of it. By the way, Francisco Alvarez had a home run, so didn't think it was that bad of a pick for me last week.
No, and I thought my Senga pick was gonna be pretty good too. I mean, it was pretty good, but unfortunately,
Luckily, luckily,
we unfortunately just can't really pick Kodai Senga much for the rest of the year.
no, you jinxed it.
I did. Oh well. I guess that just happens sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Mostly with you though.
Yeah, mostly with me, right? That's just definitely how it goes. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up here. So, Mr. Corne Hogeveen, we thank you for joining us on your 1 hour sleep, and we hope you rest up, and we will do this again in a couple days.
Yes, Thursday, I guess.
Yes, yeah, I believe Thursday will be the day. So, we thank you everyone for listening. This has been the Queen's Connection, a production of Patent Sports Creative. Make sure to follow or like us on social media or on Facebook and Twitter. Just search the Queen's Connection. We're bound to be the first things that pop up. Also, make sure to subscribe and leave a review on Spotify or YouTube, wherever you listen to the podcast, and make sure to look out for the clips that are coming as well. So, we thank you for listening. There's going to be a lot of action next couple of days, so stay tuned. We will keep you updated on any trades and whatnot. And enjoy this 3-game series against the Minnesota Twins.